Greetings, I am Samael the Reaper, and you're listening to the Dragon Between podcast, a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign set in the Eberron pulp fantasy setting by Keith Baker. New episodes are recorded every Sunday and released on the following week. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel for clips and future episodes. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter for updates and news on the podcast. Thanks for listening, and remember, I am watching you.
When the characters last met, the mysterious druid called Quimnus revealed to the characters a terrible vision of the future, that a war between the dragon-marked houses would lead to the deaths of thousands, and the world would be slowly pulled into Zoriat, the nightmarish realm of madness. Quimnus explained that he had traveled 50 years into the past via an eldritch machine called the Chronoforge, in order to prevent the end of Eberron. The druid then explained that several dimensional seals keep the realm of Zoriat from becoming coterminous with the material plane, and that he must immediately begin researching the locations of the lost seals. Meanwhile, within the offices of the High Inquisitor, Nicholas and Zara found themselves at the mercy of Vivette de Viarlin. The elven woman bewitched Zara and forced her to reveal details about her family. The High Inquisitor absorbed the information, toying with Zara while handling a family heirloom. Zara quickly realized that she was wearing a strange ring on her hand, and Vivette demonstrated the power of the ring, killing a shackled sailor hanging within a cage that was wearing one on his hand. The ring was revealed to be a magical device favored by spies. In the event the wearer is injured mortally, the ring kills the wearer instantly. Zara and Nicholas then had arcane devices placed over their heads. As the device worked on the couple, Vivette donned her hat of disguise, once again masking her features, and then attempted to erase her identity from the couple's minds. The strange helmets appeared to erase and rewrite sections of Nick's memory, while having no effect on Zara. Nicholas believed that the High Inquisitor saved the couple from the sailor, who had died during interrogation. The rogue also believed that his Enclave contact had delivered a spellbook to him a month ago, and that he was well on his way towards becoming a student of the arcane arts. Vivette reminded Nicholas that the ring on Zara's hand would most certainly lead her to death, unless the rogue recovered a device from Zardoz Zord, the master of the Sea Maiden's Fair. Before the couple could digest what had just happened, they were immediately teleported back to Troll Skull Alley. Zara then dragged her befuddled husband back to the manor. The group were then assembled in the manor just as the wizard man Shun arrived, answering Siegfried's invitation. The group then all caught up on important events and dealt with a distraught Lydia Wrighton, who paid the manor a visit, unexpectedly. The former shopkeeper continued to cause a ruckus before being calmed. Quimnus and Manshun eventually retired back to Kolat Towers for the evening, while the party ruminated on all the information they had obtained. The group discussed the band of loyalty on Zara's finger, which had been identified by Zito, and the important tasks of preventing the end of the world. The characters all retired for the evening, seeking the comfort of their beds. The party each drifted off to a restful sleep, all except for Zara, who dreamt of fire and brimstone, and a fortress of dark green stone in a barren wasteland. As you all come to various states of consciousness in your rooms, and the morning light begins to creep overhead, filtering in through the curtains. One by one, you all make your way to your daily tasks, moving about the manor. And what are each of you doing? We'll start with you first, Byron.
I'll make sure the Lydia's doing fine.
Okay.
And then the three of us will go down, have breakfast in the main hall.
Okay. So not in the tap room.
We will go to the ground floor.
Okay, so you are making your way down to the tap room.
Yes.
Okay. As you head down the stairs, you see the cobblestone streets. People are starting to mill about on the streets. The red light district itself, at this time of day, is typically fairly clear of individuals wandering the streets. You're only seeing folk who are setting up carts for the day, or you see the odd horse-drawn cart. And as you walk around the front edifice of the facade of the building, you see a few individuals who are now milling about in the yard, and you see a familiar sight of a dwarf standing in the midst of them. He's got his hands on his hips, and as he turns to look in your direction, you can see that he has a long orange beard that's split in the middle like a fork. And as he sees you walking towards him from the distance, he cracks a smile on his face, and one side of his beard twitches up a little bit. I was wondering when I'd see you again. Are you well, Byron? Is the familiar sight of Thorvin Twinbeard.
Yes, Thorvin. We're all doing well. Would you care to join us for some breakfast?
Oh, perhaps in a moment. I need to deal with these knuckleheads first, sort them out for the day. Oh, by the way, your friend, he sent this way to me, the paper bird. It's a letter. And he hands over a pentagonal piece of parchment, which is sealed. And I will put that in your inventory, Byron.
And this is for me or for someone else?
Oh, it's for the masters of the manor. I assumed it was for any of you.
Well, thank you.
And apparently it didn't let me drop it in your inventory, so let me try that again. There we go.
I'll read it while we eat.
Very well. I'm going to continue on with this lot. I'll see you later.
I'll stop by anytime.
Oh, you'll see a lot of me. I am the foreman of this construction crew.
Good, it's under... Now that I know it's under good control.
It's been an interesting couple of weeks. But we'll catch up later. I'm keeping you and your companions. And Lydia is just sort of being silent behind you. She's been walking behind you a lot, actually, ever since last night.
I said, this is my family. I introduced Lydia and Linda.
Well met, young ladies. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting either of you. I apologize for my rudeness. And Lydia keeps silent, and her eyes are cast down as if she's in some sort of trance. Linda, she says, "Oh, it's no problem at all. I've been around the manor and I've saw you, but this is the first time that I've had a chance to introduce myself. And this is my mother, Lydia. And I'm Linda." Very well. Nice to meet you both. And again, I don't want to keep you from your business. I'll let you head into the tap room. Go right ahead. Mind your step. One of the gentlemen may have dropped a couple of tacks on the ground, a couple of nails.
Thanks. And we'll head in.
Okay. And as you head into the tap room, we will transition to Zito. What are you doing, Zito?
Zito is up in the attic. He's kind of studying the room and trying to envision what his lab will look like before he would place his order to get his stuff from the.
Okay. And how about you, Nicholas? What are you doing?
Nicholas is holding the crystal that he got from Manchun, and he's trying to figure out how to cast a spell.
Okay. What kind of spell are you trying to cast?
A cantrip. Message to Samael.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
And as you speak, Nicholas, the orangish yellow colored stone, the dragon shard that's embedded in your ring, flashes. And Samael, you hear a sound emanating from your ring. It sounds like Nicholas.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, oh, oh. I'm gonna run out. Do I see Siegfried anywhere? Siegfried! Siegfried, I think it worked!
As
I
you
don't know.
you head out into the hallway, and you hop up and down the halls, and you make it towards Siegfried's room. And you notice that the door is ajar. And as you look inside, it looks like the bed has not been slept in. All right,
Wonder where it went.
at the very least, it looks like it has been very neatly made. And it looks like, just a cursory glance around the room, you don't see any of his personal belongings in the room.
Man. Everybody gets up so early. Where? I'm gonna walk downstairs, see if I can find Samael.
Okay. You also notice that Zara is gone.
Oh.
Apparently, she got up before you did and grabbed her things and left the room.
I'm gonna try to cast a message again to Samael. Did you all leave me in the manor? Did I not get the alarm?
I'm downstairs drinking. Come on down.
Oh, cool. Okay, I'm gonna head downstairs.
Okay.
Oh man,
Do
not
you
everybody left me.
are you just wearing your traveling clothes, or did you put on your armor and all that jazz?
I'm just gonna wear my robe.
Okay.
I'm going downstairs. You know, it's in the manor. I'm not dressing for combat.
Okay. And what about Brunhild? Is Brunhild also downstairs, or is she somewhere else in the manor?
I am currently sitting in the hallway staring at the ceiling, bored out of my mind, drinking out of the refillable cup that I found out last night.
Now, Brunhild, you notice that after a while, the refillable cup stopped working. After you were able to get pretty buzzed off of it, but in the middle of the night, it seemed to stop working.
That is depressing beyond all news. Well, I guess I must now go out and get it the old-fashioned way.
Okay. So after a while, you all managed to make your way downstairs, walking outside around, noticing the crew that is currently dragging the tarps off of the pallets of materials. You all notice the stout dwarf with the long orange forked beard, who's just sort of grimly looking at all of them and occasionally shouting a few curse words their way in Dwarvish. Which, of course, you pick up immediately, Brunhild, when you pass through there. And he just kind of gives you a wink.
I smile back.
And eventually you all are now assembled within the tap room, which is, to all of you, night and day from what you remember it a month ago. The lacquer is fresh. The furniture is brand new. The fire always seems to be roaring and refilled. So there's a nice warm glow coming from it this morning. From the bit of a chill from the spring air. It is also a bit wet. And you all noticed as you were getting up, you noticed that there was a bit of moisture on the windows as you were all getting up. And as you walked around outside, you can feel that bit of moisture clinging to the air. But you didn't notice any of that thick fog that you had been used to seeing since you've come back from Zoriat. Doesn't seems to be... the area within Troll Skull Alley seems pretty clear. And as you're all sitting down, Brunhild walking into the tap room. You see the familiar sight of Samael sitting at the bar, and the disembodied glasses, which are floating. You just see floating and being poured again and again and set in front of Samael. And as you head in and you begin approaching the taproom bar, Liff has already begun filling a tankard of ale for you.
Thank you.
Liff silently nods in appreciation towards you, and then you watch as a disembodied towel begins polishing a cup and is now going down the hall behind the bar, disappearing into the kitchen area. And Nicholas, you now heading into the tap room. You see Byron, you see Linda and Lydia all sitting at one of the tables. You see Samael and Brunhild perched up against the bar, both drinking. And you can already start to smell a bit of cooking, some simple smells of like some frying bacon, and the smell of some bread being baked, and some fresh bread.
I'm gonna walk up to Samael. Hey. Is it a
Oh, I
little
don't.
early?
What's up?
Isn't it a little early to be drinking?
For most, yes, but I like to get an early start on it. I'm gonna chase it down with a shot glass of bacon grease and a cup of coffee in a minute.
All right. Just you know the invitations for tonight. And I was thinking, I think we should go on with it. I don't know where Zara or Siegfried went, but if they don't come back in time, I think we need to go. I mean, I need to get that ring off my wife.
They're not up there with you?
No, I looked around and both of them seemed that they took their stuff and left.
That's awful suspect. I wonder if they went somewhere together.
Yeah.
Why don't you ask around, see if we can figure out if anybody saw them.
You also have your rings you can message them with.
Oh, yeah. Hello, Zara. Where are you?
Good idea, Nick.
You hear the sound of wind blowing, and the familiar sound of your Warforged sky carriage driver saying, "We're almost there to Sovereign Towers." And you hear, "Oh, hello, Nicholas. I'm sorry I didn't wake you. I had some things I wanted to discuss with the head of my order, and Siegfried, apparently he needed to discuss something with the head of his enclave, so you may not see us for a while."
Okay, honey. I'm just glad you're all right. They're heading to the order. They're their own separate orders. I guess they had some business to attend to, but I still think that we should go tonight. I mean, we can't miss out on this.
You know, Nick, I've been thinking, Siegfried's a fairly handsome guy. I don't know if you should let your wife keep running off with him, especially after y'all have an argument the night before.
Yeah, but I don't think Siegfried is her type.
You're most likely right, but it doesn't look good. Would you like me to cancel the two of you later?
Oh, it's okay. I try. Trust is a big thing, in relationships.
That's okay. I'm not really that kind of paladin anyway. I'd probably give you bad advice instead of good advice, but I did offer.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem.
So, Samael, what do you think the plan is?
I almost thought I heard Zara for a second there. Funny how things go. So,
Good morning, gentlemen. What's going on?
Siegfried and Zara took off to Sovereign Towers, or somewhere around there, and Nick and I are trying to figure out how to storm this ship tonight.
Well, let me know what you got planned. Rainier left me a message saying that we have funds available for a couple more upgrades to the manor itself, depending on what we want to do. I think that we can put that off for a little bit if you like.
I do have a bit of a plan for storming the ship, but it might just be the alcohol talk.
And why are we needing to do this again?
I was just waiting to see if you actually wanted to hear my plan. Okay. So I think we should go in 2 teams. It's occurred to me that a good deal of our party is far stealthier than the other members of our group. We have no chance of all of us sneaking in there. But what if us went onto the ship disguised as nobles, and the other half snuck on board while the first half were to distract the ship?
I like it. It's a good idea. How many invitations do we have, Jeremy?
There are 4 invitations.
Byron, you know these people better than anybody else. Do you think it'll work?
Everything should work.
The door to the tap room opens, and a bit of chill from the spring air wafts in, and as you all turn to look, there is a dwarf walking into the tap room.
Is this Thorvin?
It is not. It is a different dwarf.
Boy, well met.
We're closed right now, but how can we help?
The female dwarf sort of looks around, and she's wearing robes, and she's just sort of looking around the tap room, rubs a finger against the side of the door frame and looks at it. Looks at each one of you, and she has a bit of a scowl on her face as she's staring at each of you, which gets even more so intense when she sees Brunhild. And she says, "Oi, you lot. Which one of yous runs this place?"
We all do.
You all do. Okay, well then, since all of you seem to be part owner, I'll address all of you. My name is Olcuria Tordanen. And,
You made that up.
nope. No, I did not.
You sure that's a dwarvish name? Brunhild, does that sound dwarvish to you?
Brunhild,
That sounds dwarvish, but the robes do not.
Brunhild, you're familiar with the name Tordanen. In fact, Tordanen, the moment that you hear the name Tordanen, you get a pang of like panic / uneasiness. You remember
What business do you have here?
you remember that Tordanen does not like your clan. Oh, just curious. Passing through. This place has seen better days. But it seems to be in, well, at least at the moment, seems to be in good hands.
Just curious, you say. I too like to walk into random taverns in the morning and ask who owns everything.
Well, it's not that random, lass. This place and I have a little bit of history.
I think that's my friend's point.
Not that it's any of your business.
Not that it's any of yours.
I mean, kind of is our business.
So I take it you wish to open this up again to the public?
Yes.
No. And what about security? Have you Have you thought about hiring anyone to keep an eye on the place?
Does this name sound familiar?
Tordonin?
Yeah.
Make a history check.
Nope.
You know that Tordonin, just a cursory thought on the name in your head, it sounds dwarvish, but you're not too familiar with the name Ulcuria. Ulcuria, you get a sense that you have heard Ulcuria in passing, but most people don't call her Ulcuria. They call her something else, but you just can't. It's on the tip of your tongue. You just can't bring it to mind. And Ulcuria begins walking around the tap room now, and she says, "Oh, a lot of work. Put in a lot of work. Thorvin's doing. Looks like his handiwork."
Yes. What for the security is that your specialty?
Well, my specialty is boarding. I have in the past. I have been hired by different establishments in Trollskull and around the cliffside, and a few of the other wards. I have offered my services to cast glyphs of warding. Quite useful, especially if you don't want someone getting into something.
And you willing to help us out?
Help? Sure, for a fee.
And what's your fee?
Well, it depends on what you want. I can cast a glyph of warding on anything.
And Jeremy, is this part of the security upgrades for the manor?
No, this is actually something totally different. This is a random NPC who's wandered into your shop, or into your tavern. Or appears to be a random NPC to Byron, at least.
And where exactly did you learn your craft in warding?
I thought you were still up in the parapet, Zito.
Oh, I thought you said that we were all down there.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Then Zito, you randomly walk from under a table, and Ulcuria sort of jumps and makes a look of disdain. Oh, Jesus! You let them in? You let this one in?
What do you mean, this one?
Gross. Get away.
We let the other ones in too.
There's more?
Oh, we let all types in here.
We don't discriminate.
No? You let all of them in, even the clankers.
Yeah, we have one that does a lot of work here for us.
Well, that's very progressive of you all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's time to move forward, don't you think?
We're quite the forward-thinking lot.
Well, everything is always moving forward.
I certainly don't like to think backwards.
Now, Ulcuria now looking at you and kind of squinting her eyes a little bit, Brunhild, and she takes a few steps towards you and she says, "Where are you from, little lass? I don't recognize you. I haven't seen you around." But you have a familiar look to you. And she continues to stare and burn holes, like, as if she's burning holes into you now, Brunhild.
Where I'm from is my business. Where are you from?
Well, I've spent a great many years here in Shan. Know this place like the back of my hand. Few of you look familiar, especially the quiet one in the corner with the two ladies. I know I've seen you before.
Nope, not I.
And she says, well, you're not open for business. I won't beg for an ale. What about the wars? Is it something you'd be interested in?
I think we got your name. If we want it, we'll come and find you.
All right. I can take a hint when I'm... my presence is not wanted. I will collect gonk and I'll be on my way. And she begins heading towards the exit. She turns and looks back at the lot of you, and the scowl that was on her face before has sort of faded a bit, and you can tell that she's... her overall demeanor has softened, and she says, I do hope you keep this place open. It deserves to be open again.
I'm going to come up out of my L, still dripping L down my face, and give her a big old grin.
She just kind of rolls her eyes and grins.
When we open, we expect you to come.
Grins back at you and says, and she turns and looks at you, Byron, and says, I always keep my promises. I promise I'll be here. And maybe, just maybe, I'll see if I can bring some business your way. Oh, by the by, the crew that's out there working, they said something about there was some folk who were inquiring about interviews. Of course, that has nothing to do with me. And she opens the door now and walks outside. And if any of you are looking out the windows, you see a towering construct, which is standing out in the midst of all of the pallets, and is very carefully walking, lumbering. Tall, lanky arms, and I will share an image of what it looks like.
Hey, Byron, your friend's outside.
There you go.
I don't know about you a lot, but I liked her.
You'd like everybody to hate you.
And you hear the stomping, heavy footfalls as the thing begins moving away, and you hear the woman's voice trailing off from outside. Come on, Gonk, we got places to visit. And you are now, once again, by yourselves within the tavern.
Oh, let's make sure we lock those doors. Chat. Well, we have several things that we got to talk about. One is getting manpower for this place. Two, having a party tonight.
Agreed.
Shipboard, I mean.
And speaking of things we need to talk about, I'm putting a list together of things that the tower can provide for us. Is there anything that you guys would like?
Yes, a hammer that kills everything on this first swing.
Well, I was thinking more on the lines of supplies rather than magical items, but I suppose I can ask for a kill-all hammer.
They don't exist. I've already asked for one. But it is what I would like. Other than that, I'm good.
What about you, Nicholas? I'm sure they can send you a trainee spellbook if you'd like.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking, I'm not that smart of a guy, and I was wondering if they have anything to, help me become a little smarter.
It's called the book.
Yeah, read the books.
Okay.
I didn't know that Nick was a magic user. Can you get him a spell book? I want to see what he can cast.
I'm sure the tower can provide a basic spell book for Nicholas if you would.
Okay. I have to ask.
Nice.
No, I'm excited.
I've seen you with a gun. I can only imagine how well you'd be able to aim a spell. You could probably pick fleas off of a dog with a firebolt.
What's a fireball? I'm still trying to learn light. Is it something like
No.
light?
Yeah. You don't worry about it, man.
So, you want to talk about the manor, or you want to continue on with your plan now that the doors are locked?
Yes. My plan for tonight was I think some of us should dress up as nobles, particularly me and Brunhild. And well, I guess everybody could come in through that way, with the exception of you and Nick. I think you and Nick should stealth in through the back, go through, figure out what we can figure out, and be prepared to kill anybody if we need to. I mean, keep in mind, this is a very loose plan. I don't have all the details down yet, but I do know when it comes to dressing up as nobles, we're friends with Renair. He could come along with us and actually get some credence to it.
Yeah, I'd rather not pull too many favors from him. He's already got our manor up and running and made her a lot of rain for us while we were gone. I don't want to get him involved and get his reputation worse.
I understand. That being said, though, over in Thrain, we don't have dragon-marked houses the way they do down here. The dragon-marked families, they hold very little sway up in that area due to the heavy presence of the Silver Flame. If we say we're nobles from Thrain, that would dissuade a lot of the dragon-marked house questions that I can't necessarily answer.
Yeah, true.
Also, I just want to say we have 4 invitations. So we can get Zito, you, and Brunhild in, and we could get me or Byron in, but one of us will have to be stealthy.
I think sending both of you in as stealthers is going to be a better bet than just one of you. If you get into trouble, you're going to need somebody there to have your...
Alright, and I'm gonna hold on to the one invitation just in case one of us maybe get caught. But I'm gonna hand Samuel, Zito, and Brunhild an invitation. Here, take these.
Linda
Well,
sort of clears her throat a little bit, and Byron, is this something that perhaps I can help you with? Like, I could tag along?
I'd rather you not be involved or seen much. 'Cause I don't know how questionable this may be or not. It's like one of your mother's deliberate.
It's a party, isn't it?
Well, if you wish to go, I won't stop you.
I mean, this is important for your friend, for Zahra. I can't say that I understand 100% exactly what you're trying to do with this party, but especially
That makes
since
two of us, but
your bard friend is missing, and if he doesn't make it back in time, or Zahra for that matter.
Byron, I don't mean to interject, but she knows just as much about the city as you do. And I'm afraid the rest of us are all outsiders here. It might actually be better off for us to take her with us than not. And if things go south, we can just get her out of the way first.
well, all right. That makes sense.
It's your call, but we would do far worse without her.
I understand.
I don't know.
And Lydia,
Lydia just sort of, like she's in a trance, looks up from her food, which she's barely touched, and she's like, huh?
You're going to need a snap out of it, dear. Your family, you're protected. And would you mind looking after the manor when we're gone? No, I know we have several people outside waiting to be interviewed for jobs. Could you do that for us? Could you?
She immediately pushes herself back from the table, stands up, and pulls a bit of material from her dress, a pocket in the front, and starts to pull her hair up into a ponytail. And she says, "It's the least I can do."
You would be Mother of the Manor. Would that be a good title for you?
We'll see.
Or matron?
You said interviews?
Yes, there's several people outside. Is that all right, Samuel? Nick?
She knows what we're looking for better than we do at this point. I'd say yeah.
She's
Well,
ran a
she's-
business, cooked.
Yeah, she's actually knows what she's talking about. I would have no clue about any kind of food.
I think she'd be good at hiring people, and I think she would be a good job at leading the people that will help run this.
How many people do you want to hire? How many
Well,
positions? How many positions are open?
Well, how many people do you think it would take to maintain a successful manor such as this?
Well, you need a bartender that can actually speak. No offense to your ghost friend. He can't ask for tips. He can't order the kitchen around. He can't communicate with the servers. So, no offense. I think you need to hire a good bartender. You definitely need to hire some porters who can also have dual, responsibilities in the kitchen, serving food and whatnot. The folk that come in to drink, they probably want to look at someone who's pretty, so you might want to hire a couple of barmaids. So I'd say probably looking at least 5 or 6 people I would hire.
What about security for when we're not here?
I think
I
we
could,
should leave that to us. I think we should hire the security. I think
I may be able to get a friend of mine to help us with those arrangements. Maybe we'll increase some local patrol people that he could bring in himself.
I think one big half worker in the bar room would go a good way towards dissuading.
Or even a
Or
client.
one giant golem.
What's that, Zito?
Or one giant golem.
Yeah. Giant Warforged to do it too. One of those big juggernaut looking ones.
I'd rather be
Yeah.
human. Or living, not living.
Okay, so like half work.
Something along those lines. So has a good presence to keep people in mind. Could you do that, Lydia?
Well, no trouble. I can certainly give them a critical eye and interview them all. And I understand that hiring is my purview. That I don't require any of you to approve who I choose.
No. As long as you can feel that they're trustworthy, I have trust and faith in you. You might want to get with Hewitt, though, for maybe the bouncer, but he may have some good recommendation. Unless you know of any through your meetings and network.
Well, I'll reach out to a few people that are looking for work. I don't imagine any of the folk who are coming in are going to be looking to crack heads. They're probably just looking for some fast coin.
Yeah, and we have to look at the stables outside too and see if they can be brought up to
Also,
better
there's
shape to hold
also-
horses.
I don't know if you noticed, but there's 4 fuckers looking in through the window right now. Oh shit! Look right now. They're looking in right now. They're ducking down, and as you turn to look, it almost looks to you, Byron, as if 4 children were looking in through the windows, and at one of a time, each one of them, their heads disappear. Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah,
So
it
clear-
used to be a haunted house. Now it's occupied.
Clearly, this place is drawing a lot of attention.
So we should open some.
If you want to keep it open, yes, I would recommend it.
Byron,
You don't want your supplies to start going missing.
Exactly. What's up, Nick?
are you sure that we shouldn't oversee it? You know, maybe she can do all the interviews because there's going to be tons of people, but maybe like the final round, we have something to do with it. I mean, we are living here. I mean, it'd be nice if we were a little bit in, you know, the loop.
Or everything down here on the ground level, I say would be for her. She couldn't manage that. Everything in the manor above would be for us. There's
Alright.
no access. There's no access upstairs.
At least the
I-
guards. At least let's
Yep.
hire the.
I agree with Nick. We should at least see who will be going into the tavern that we're going to be hired.
That's fine.
Obviously, I don't want to sit down and and interviews everybody because there's probably gonna be tons of people. But I think the final round, we could just say, hey, introduce ourselves, and if we get a weird vibe or not. But I do trust your mother-in-law, so
Lydia
good
begins.
for her not.
Is now storming across and unlocks the door and sticks her head out and says, "Hey, you four, are you buying or are you looking? What the hell do you want?" And you hear some voices. You hear like a sharp little shrill. Oh, so sorry. I was looking for some work. Is there someone I can talk to? Yeah, you're talking to me. I'll be with you in a moment. And she turns around and looks at the rest of you and says, "Well, I don't know what your plans are for the rest of the day, but it looks like I have my work cut out for me."
Good, good.
After she picks everyone, we could get them together, and I could use detect evil on them. It would leave us gives us a insight if we hired anybody really, really distasteful.
And we could use a zone of truth too.
Well, I guess we should let her, get to it. I think that either we go upstairs or head out.
Well, we can head upstairs and plan the actual visit to the party, or at least get dressed for it, right, Stan?
Yeah, I'm gonna look down and be like, yeah, I need to get dressed.
I don't know if plate mail is a good thing for a noble.
So, are you all heading upstairs now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think we're all finished eating. We'll go upstairs to the briefing room.
Okay. As you head out the front door to walk around to the front facade on the main outside of Trollskull Alley into the red light district proper, you see what look like four halflings, 2 male and 2 female, who seem to be patiently and a couple of them impatiently tapping their furry feet, looking in your direction with smiles on their face. And then you see another smaller, diminished-looking individual. It looks like a gnome, and he has blonde hair, which is sticking straight up into a point, and he's wearing green robes. And he waves at all of you as you're passing by and says, "Oh, excuse me, hello, excuse me."
Yes, hello.
Oh, well, another small folk. Hello. I was just wondering when you're going to be holding the interviews.
To my understanding, the interviews will be being held later today.
Oh, that long? Goodness, I suppose I could come back later. Well, I wanted to make sure that I spoke to you all as quickly as possible. So, is there a specific time that I should come back? And he's now looking warily over to the 4 halflings.
Well, you know, wasn't she gonna start here soon? I didn't realize it was later. I thought she was gonna start here in a
Just
couple
having a
minutes.
check-in with the matron.
As you say that, Byron, the door slams open and Lydia storms out and says, "Hey, 2 pounds of shit and a 10-pound sack. Get in here." And she's referring to one of the halflings, sort of a rotund halfling. And he just sort of like goes, "Eat," and he very quickly scurries across the courtyard towards the door. Welcome. Hello, nice to meet you. Hot. Get in. And the door slams shut as the halfling disappears inside. And Lydia hooks a thumbs up in your direction, Byron, before she disappears back inside the tap room.
It looks like she just started.
Oh, it's splendid. Well, I will stay here then.
What's your name, stranger?
Oh, they call me Needles. I'm a mage right.
Oh, Needles.
Yes.
What's your clan's name, Needles?
Oh, I don't have one, actually. Most of my folk, they all died off.
Oh, that's too bad. What, you said you're a mage?
Mage right, actually.
Interesting.
And you can see that he's sort of eyeing you up and down now, like he's realizing that he's in the presence of someone who's a bit more powerful than him. And he sort of stands up a little bit, straightens his back like he's now trying to appear taller than you. But he's about the same height as you.
Well, Needles, I hope the best for you. Because who knows, maybe we'll exchange information.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I love to learn new things, especially from someone that appears to be as knowledgeable as you.
Yes, and perhaps you'll be able to teach our friend Nicholas here a thing or two.
Oh, you have another arcanist in your midst, someone who is looking to learn a few things?
An inspiring economist, yes.
He turns and he looks in your direction, and he begins heading towards you now, and he says, "Oh, hello, I'm Needles," and he stretches out a hand, a tiny little gnomish hand.
I'll shake his hand. And question: what are you interviewing for? What position?
Well, I was hoping that I could possibly offer my assistance as security.
Ah, and what kind of security do you do?
And you watch him as he turns and he looks around with a big, goofy grin on his face. He stretches out a hand, and as he does so, his hand burns slightly, and then a fireball emerges from it, and it arcs over, and it hits a cat that was perched on a post and lights its tail on fire, and the cat screeches and starts running down the alley.
Wow.
I know,
Impressive.
right? I know, right? I can do that all day.
And probably burn our tavern down in the process. Do you have anything other than fire?
Oh, yeah. And he starts walking up to the post now that is scorched, and he begins passing a hand over it, and the post, as his hand passes over it, is completely mended.
There we go. That's
And
what I
he
like to see.
then walks up to you, and he starts looking at all the tears and rips in the soft goods of your armor, and he begins passing a hand over your body, at least from where he can reach, and from, I would say, just from about your calf, your mid thigh down to your calf. All of the holes and rips that were in your soft goods have now mended themselves.
I'm gonna stop him before mending mine.
Okay.
Samael's supposed to look a little bit beaten up and worn. If he's too clean, it doesn't look right.
He also he says, I can also do this. This is a little something that takes a little longer for me. And he walks over to you, Zito, and he takes his hands and shifts them into different geometric shapes, his fingers together. And then he claps his hands 3 times and passes them over you, and you all watch as Zito transforms. His form goes from that of a kobold to a gnome.
And wait, what do you?
It turned into a gnome.
And Zito, as you look down at your hands, you can see that that your hands are now no longer scaly and orange scales on your hands or claws. You now have plump little fat gnome fingers.
Very interesting.
And he says,
Well, Needles.
that'll last for about an hour. Just be careful. Folk can it's not too powerful. Folk can usually see through it. If they're smart enough, they can see right through it.
Well, Needles, you seem very promising.
Oh, really? You think you could put in a word with the lady?
Yeah, I think we will put a word in for you.
Well, that would be awesome. And he steps back now and he says, "Do you want to stay this way? I'll get rid of it if you want. If so, it'll last for about an hour."
No, feel free to dispel it.
And he claps his hands twice, and poof, your form is that back to of the orangish, burnt orange scales of a kobold. And he, with a smile on his face, he heads away from you, lining up now with the other 3 halflings that are waiting outside the front of this facade. And the rest of you begin wandering back up to the second floor to the meeting room. Several of you have already, I assume, are already seated around the table.
Yeah.
We've been there.
Zeta is gonna give Needles a little piece of paper for him to give to his interviewer, showing that his approval of Needles.
And he holds the piece of paper in both of his little fat hands, and he's just like, "Oh, thank you so much."
So we meet again, Needles. Zito's gonna go back upstairs.
Okay. As you head upstairs, Zito, you see the rest of the group has now seated around the table. And did you bring Linda up there with you, Byron?
Yeah, she came up with us.
Okay, so you see the side of Byron and Linda sitting next to each other, and then you see Nicholas and Brunhild, and you see Samael, all waiting and ready. And Nicholas has produced the letter from the High Inquisitor, has laid it out onto the desk in front of you. Or the table, I should say.
Alright, guys. So, we need to get on board, get to some kind of device, and exit. Samael, you want to take the lead?
So why do we need to get the device?
We need to get the device to get the ring off my Zara's.
I don't see why we can't just get Zara into that room with the device so she can do it herself.